All right, mixed media students, we are going to do a quick demo for your third drawing assignment today, negative space and turning off your left brain. If I asked you to draw something really complicated, but like maybe a hammer or a pair of scissors or a wrench, one of the very first questions you would probably ask me would be, oh, Miss Barea, can't I just trace it? And the reason that so many new artists have the impulse and desire to trace stuff is because you get the negative space correct. And the negative space is the area around an object. So if I were to take a look at these scissors on this piece of paper, the scissors are the positive space. They're the stuff. They are the object that I would be drawing if I were to be drawing these. But one of the ways to turn your left brain off and activate your right brain is to concentrate on the spaces around and between objects, or the negative space, because your left brain doesn't have easily accessible symbols for those spaces. You have a symbol in your head for what a pair of scissors looks like. Your left brain would take that over, but you don't necessarily have a symbol for what the space between two handles of a pair of scissors is. So what you're going to be doing for this one is you're going to be tracing. Grab a sheet of paper, and I suggest that you do this with a relatively sharp pencil. And then you're going to pick a couple of objects from around your house. In the classroom, I usually grab some tools and stuff. Stuff that has interesting negative spaces. I really like scissors for this because they have the interesting handles and you can open them up into different settings. You have one of my daughter's teething rings right here. A fancy cheese knife that my sister gave my husband for Christmas. And arrange at least 5 objects. You can do more, but that can start to get a little bit more complicated. But at least 5 objects on your sheet of paper, and then you're going to trace them. What's important for the tracing is you keep your pencil straight up and down. So it works best if you put a little bit of pressure on your objects as you're tracing them, and you want to make sure that you keep your pencil straight up and down. If you start to curve your pencil around your objects, they're going to become distorted. As you trace them, you can move them to the side. And again, for this pair of scissors, I'm going to press down on it so that it doesn't wiggle away from me. But where I have objects that are touching, where the handle of the hammer comes to touch where the handle of the scissors are, that's positive space, so I'm not going to trace that. I'm not going to worry about any of the inside details, like where this bolt is that holds the blades of the scissors together. I'm not going to worry about where the red handles of these scissors start. None of that is important because we're just concentrating on the area around our objects. And then where this weird little cheese knife overlaps my pink scissors, I'll leave that be. And you will continue tracing around all of the objects that you have on your paper. Again, I recommend stuff that has kind of interesting negative space. Here's the one that I started earlier. A lot of the same objects are on this one. But what you're going to do when you finish your tracing is I want you to make sure that where your objects were touching, you don't have any lines there. So if you need to, you may need to erase to make sure that the positive space, the edges of these objects, aren't a part of your drawing. So where these overlap right here, where this overlaps right here, I had to erase that. What you're going to do to finish this is you're going to fill in the negative space with value. I was starting off with just some cross-hatching lines, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into our drawing techniques. But cross-hatching lines are a way to make value and to make texture. And those lines look a little bit something like this. They layer on top of each other, but you are welcome to fill in the negative spaces however you like. So if you want to fill it in kind of with scribbles, like this, if you want to fill it in with a marker instead of with a pencil, that's totally fine too. That could probably go a little bit quicker even. But you're going to fill in all of the negative spaces with color or with value. It doesn't have to be with, a regular pencil. If you want to add color to it, you're welcome to do that too. But I don't want to see any of the stuff. We're just concentrating on the areas around it.